call it out, Corey. You got to give yourself a pat on the back. You called it out. Right. Man, this fell right on Corey. Look at that. the Colts at the Bills. Oh, man. Corey, who you got?
So the Bills have opened as a touchdown favorite in this game. Honestly, that seems a bit high.
Touchdown favorite?
Yeah, I mean, before last week, the Bills were kind of starting to have some questions. They lost to the Titans. Miami kept it close with them throughout that whole game, and they put it away late. And then they lost to the Jaguars, and their offense just looked atrocious. Yes, they did blow out the Jets last week, but does that really say much right now? Especially since both the Bills and the Colts have put up 45 on the Jets each of the last 2 weeks. So that touchdown seems a bit high. For the breakdown offensively, honestly, I think I would have to give the edge to the Bills. The Colts have a significantly better running game than Buffalo has, but the Bills are just able to be more consistent through the air right now. I think their offensive line also is playing better, and they're getting quality production out of multiple receivers, whereas the Colts have Pittman, who's exploded as a number one guy, but they're still looking for a second guy to step up. Defensively, I'd give the edge to Buffalo as well. I mean, they've shown to have one of the best defenses in the NFL this year. They're giving up the third fewest rushing yards a game at 83, and the fewest total yards per game right now. There's only been one time this year where they've given up more than 30 points. And when it comes to Indianapolis, I still have questions about their defensive play calling with Matt Eberflus. Overall, things on paper do look to be stacked against Indianapolis. I think that some of the consideration for the touchdown spread is the media narrative of Carson Wentz, which for people that have actually watched him play, I don't think matches said media narrative. But the Colts are on the road. Their offense has struggled the last couple of weeks once they've gotten out of the scripted plays to open the game. Defensively, they're playing backup safeties. They've lost 8 straight games against playoff teams. But the Colts are still a team that sounds confident internally when you listen to them talk. Frank Reich made the comments the other day that, if somebody's going to go on a run in the AFC, why not them? And it's a fair point. And I think there is some reason for that, for optimism for them.
You did call it out, Corey. You got to give yourself a pat on the back. You called it out.
For what?
You called it out and said, I think the Colts can go on a run if they win these certain games. I remember that. Specifically, you said that.
Yeah, the season started out really rough. They had a number of bad bounces, but out of their 5 losses this year, they're a team, they held a fourth quarter lead in 3 of those. They're in a position that, they almost beat Buffalo in the playoffs last year in Buffalo. They have a number of guys on their defense that are starting to get it going at the right time of the year. Kwity Paye is starting to look really good. The dude's had 8 pressures the last 2 weeks. Finally got his first sack last week. Rocky Sin, the much maligned cornerback, is really starting to play some good football this year. He's been put on an island a number of times and has held up. Isaiah Rodgers, their 6th round pick from a year ago, is starting to play some really good football for them on the outside as well. He's playing well enough to the point that when Xavier Rhodes is fully healthy, I don't know that you put Xavier Rhodes back on the field over Rodgers.
So Rocky Sin, is this his 2nd year or 3rd?
3rd year.
3rd. Okay.
Yeah, he's a 3rd-year guy at a Temple. The learning curve was a bit steep for him, but he's really starting to look the part now. And I think this Colts team is not only in a situation where they could win the game, but more importantly, I think it's one that they need to win. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick my Colts 30-27.
Yeah, not a limb. Not a limb. All right, Craig.
Oh man,
Colts versus Bills. What you got?
this is a good one. I hope. Offensively, I got to go with Buffalo. Slightly, just slightly. I think the Colts clearly had the better running game. It just comes down to the receivers for me, I guess. Basically, I think Carson Wentz is playing like he's playing really, really great. Like I didn't think he was going to put up 17-3 right now at this point through the season, but like you can't really ask for too much more than this from him. Without Ty not being there, and I think they lost. Didn't they lose another receiver? Campbell.
Yeah, Paris Campbell's
Paris Campbell.
out.
Yeah,
although he could come back for the Christmas Day game.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they're dealing with a lot on the offensive end, but man, Jonathan Taylor looks crazy right now. Like he's beasting right now, running the ball. The Bills have, I wouldn't call it a two-headed monster at running back with Singletary and Moss, but they're serviceable. I guess. I think that's the biggest weakness for the Bills team. I think they in the offseason they need to look for a running back, whether it be through the draft or free agency or something. But Josh Allen, he's putting up decent numbers. The offense looks pretty good. But I mean, like Corey said, they played the Jets last week and destroyed them. And I mean, it's the Jets. Where was that same effort when you played the Jaguars, another bad team? So they're beating teams, or at least they beat the team that they were supposed to beat. It's a tough loss, but I think a lot of teams have had bad losses this year, like a lot of the top teams. So, but offensively, I would take the Bills. Defensively, I would take the Bills as well. They had the best overall defense in the league. Second best against the pass, third best against the run. So they're a formidable defense. I think they're the best total points as well, given up. So
yeah,
they're tops all across the board as far as those numbers go. The defense is playing excellent. They're 3-1 at home, and like this is a game that they should win. And with New England breathing down their neck, and they got to play them 2 times in the next couple of weeks. Like this is a game that they cannot afford to lose. So I definitely think that this is a game that they need to win. Oh, I forgot coaching. Man. I think it's close. I think it's a toss-up between both coaches. I think they've both done a great job this year, especially with how the Colts started out. Their first 5 games were just ridiculous, and they kind of weathered that storm, and now they're sitting at 500, and like they're right back into the playoff hunt. So I definitely think that both coaches have done a pretty good job in that manner, in that regard. But as far as the pick, I want to say that. I want to say the Colts just because I picked them to go to the playoffs, but I'm going to slightly lean towards the Bills just because they're at home. I'm going 24-17 Buffalo just because they're at home, and it's tough, man. That's tough.
Okay. All right. Colts at Bills. Offense, I give it to the Bills. Receiver, Stephon Diggs. Then Josh Allen quarterback. All right, my thoughts on that is he hasn't been playing as good as everybody thought he has, actually. That's just my thoughts this past couple of games. But I still give the edge over him to Carson Wentz, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel like if the Colts was this team that started out the season, I don't know if Carson Wentz is not in the MVP discussion, or they're not leading the division, you know. So I mean, this is gonna be a really good game. Coaching, the defense. I gotta give it to the Bill. The Colts defense is good, actually. The defense is really good. Shout out to Jonathan Taylor too. I knew he was going to be good coming out of Wisconsin. And they got him as a steal in the second round. Your GM is Chris Ballard, right? No.
Yep.
Great GM so far, man. Actually, reminds me of a lot of great teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very conservative, holds on to draft picks, develops talent in the house. It's what good
Do you
teams
imagine if Kansas City would have taken Jonathan Taylor instead of Edwards-Helaire?
Wow, they'd be a problem right now. Wow, daggone. Oh man, dang, Corey, that messed me up. Wow, dang, they would be
Dangerous.
very dangerous. It'd be a different team. Especially struggling, they would have just leaned on Jonathan Taylor. They would have just ran the ball. I know that about Andy Reid. I'm about to lean on this real quick while my offense, gets it together. Man. But yeah, I gotta give it to Bill. Even though I love the Colts defense, though, right? I like the Colts D. I liked them last year. I like them this year. I gotta give the Bills a slight edge. And coaching, I think it's a push, man. I think both coaches are very good. Both coaches excel with getting talent out their players. And they're really good game managers. They're hard workers, man. So shout out to Frank Wright and Sean McDermott, man. Great coaches. I don't usually do pushes, but I got to give the push in that instance. This is going to be very interesting because you're right, Craig. The Bills are 6-4, the Patriots 6-4, and the Colts are 5-5. The Colts are trying to make it to the playoffs. So this game is going to be live. I think it's going to be kind of like a playoff atmosphere. And I'm a side with Corey on this one, man. I'm going with the Colts. I think just because the Bills they kind of struggled of late. And when you're struggling, right, against Miami, I mean, it's good that they beat the Jets, but the Colts beat the Jets too. Everybody's talking about Mike White was a savior. That was crazy. And we're not going to talk about that. New York is crazy. But they just picked up Zach Wilson in the second round, Talking about Mike White is a savior. Anyway, man, that was just so crazy. So I got to give it, I'm going to give it to the Colts, man. I think they're playing really good right now. They're clicking on all cylinders. And then I think it's going to be, for the first time in a long time, the Bills are going to be 6-5 and the Patriots are going to be 7-4. But it'll switch. The Bills are turning back on. All right, Mo. Colts at Bills, who you got?
Lord. Offensively, I'm taking the Bills, and really, it might shock you. My only reason for taking the Bills offensively is Josh Allen. I think without Josh Allen, it would be either even or Colts would be better. But Josh Allen tips it. I'll take Josh Allen over Carson. So defensively, that's tough because I love the Colts defense, but I love the pieces on Buffalo defense. I think Buffalo's done an amazing job in that draft of getting people who fits what their head coach personality is. When you talk about White at corner, Oliver at defensive line, you talk about Edmonds at linebacker. It just fits who they are. But if I had to just toss it up right now, I'll take Buffalo. Coaching wise, I know we don't like this, but James, I agree. Like both coaches get the best out of their players. Both coaches find ways to take players who people didn't think of or thought that wasn't going to do much, and they get the best out of them. So I take both the coaches. This is tough because for Buffalo, you look at it now is your time to smell blood for getting the number one seed. It's there for you. is there for you. But if you look at Colts, they're trying to make the playoffs. So it's both. It's must win for both if you really look at it. Revenge factor playoffs. I'm gonna go Colts 24. I'm gonna go Colts 27-24 in overtime.
Oh, that might be. Oh man, overtime.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean this might be a good one.
Man, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a great game.
it's gonna be stressful enough. I don't know if I can do overtime.
It's either gonna be overtime or it's gonna come down to the wire. It's gonna be a good game, man.